guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we will today's topic is iPhone 14 Pro versus Google Pixel 7 Pro. Which flagship phone could win? So let's start the video. An iPhone 14 Pro versus Google Pixel 7 Pro showdown won't take place for another few months, but it's already a match you're excited to see go down. Apple and Google typically make the best cameras you can buy, so any comparison between their flagships is often a hard-fought one. Just look at the Google Pixel 6 Pro versus iPhone 13 Pro Max face-off to see how the current phones stack up. Neither phone has been officially unannounced, but enough details have leaked out to give us a sense of how this smartphone battle will shape up. The iPhone 14 Pro, for example, it will make some noteworthy hardware changes, so much so that the revamped display, cameras, and chipset could make Apple's phone more expensive than the iPhone 13 Pro. It's replacing. In contrast, the Pro version of the Google Pixel 7 Pro should be very similar to the Pixel 6 Pro. With a new chipset, the only major change that Google's confirmed to date. However, Pixel 6 Pro was already an excellent deal for a top-tier phone, and with some refinement, it can continue to make the competition look overpriced while matching them on key features. On to see how an iPhone 14 Pro versus Google Pixel 7 Pro comparison is likely shake out, along with our thoughts on how both phones are shaping up based on the current rumors. For a more general face-off, check out our 13 versus iPhone 13 versus Google Pixel 7 matchup. iPhone 13 Pro versus Google Pixel 7 Pro possibly release date and price. While Apple said nothing about the iPhone 14 yet, we are fairly comfortable with rumors of an iPhone release date in September. That's the month that Apple revealed the iPhone 13 last year, as well as several other previous generations of Apple's phones. Google's already promised a fall date for the Pixel 7, but nothing more specific than that. Given that the Pixel 6 series launched in early October last year, we'll be marking our calendars for similar this time this year. The iPhone 13 Pro was already at $100 and €100 disadvantage to the Pixel 6 Pro, and we expect to see a similar gap between the iPhone 14 Pro and the Pixel 6 Pro. In fact, the gap could be larger as there are rumors of $1,000 price increase for both iPhone 14 Pro models. iPhone 14 Pro versus Google Pixel 7 Pro design. Neither the iPhone 14 Pro or Google Pixel 7 Pro should look too different from their predecessors, although they'll still look quite different from one another. We're anticipating another flat-sided handset with a triangular arrangement of cameras on the back of for the iPhone 14 Pro, with a choice of several matte textured colors on one new element to look out for, whether display cutouts for the selfie camera and the Face ID sensors replace the famous iPhone notch. As has been rumored, this would set to the Pro model apart from the regular phone. iPhone 14, which is said to be keeping the iPhone 13's notch design. Google Pixel Google gave the Pixel 6 a completely different design for previous Pixels, but the Pixel 7 will iterate on its predecessor's look rather than the shaking up things up again. There is a subtle change to the rear camera bar to make the camera sensor stand out from the rest of the visor-shaped bump, and Google will likely offer one or two new colors to help differentiate the new model as well. Otherwise, it'll look a lot like Pixel 6 series. iPhone 13, iPhone 14 Pro versus Google's Pixel 7 Pro display. Like the iPhone 13 Pro Max, the iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max should offer 6.1 inches and 6.7-inch display. Respectively, these should both use ProMotion 120Hz display like before too, except there are rumors of a lower premium refresh rate and a new always-on display features as a result. The Pixel 7 Pro should also have 6.7-inch display with 120Hz refresh rate as the Pixel 6 Pro did before it. One possible upgrade may boost the screen's brightness, which would help make the display easier to use in bright sunlight. iPhone 14 Pro versus Google Pixel 7 Pro cameras. Both the iPhone 13 Pro and the Pixel 6 Pro sit at 1 and 2 on our best camera phones guide, and history suggests the iPhone 14 Pro and Pixel 7 Pro will replace them once we get a chance to test both devices. There are only limited upgrades on the cards, though, according to the rumor mill. The basic arrangements of the iPhone 14 Pro's main ultrawide telephoto and selfie camera, plus its rear LiDAR sensor, doesn't seem to be changing from the iPhone 13 Pro. According to the rumors we've heard, the big upgrade this year is thought to be the addition of a 48 megapixel sensor for the main camera, allowing for brighter or more detailed shots as well as a larger camera array from the iPhone 13 Pros. We're not expecting any changes to the Pixel 7 Pro cameras, front or back, which isn't a surprise given Google changed so much last year. We may see some new software side upgrades to complement existing features like Magic Eraser, plus other smaller refinements to the existing cameras. iPhone 14 Pro versus Google 7 Pro. Google Pixel 7 Pro performance. Apple is likely to maintain its sizable smartphone performance lead over the Pixel 7 Pro and other Android phones with a new A16 Bionic chip. With that power bump plus faster LPDDR RAM allegedly coming to the new iPhone, it will be difficult for the Pixel to keep up. However, the chip in the Pixel 7 Pro will be interesting for its own unique reason. Google's already said that it will be using a second generation tensor chip to power the new flagship Pixels after introducing the original Google Tensor on last year's Pixel 6. As with the first one, the Tensor 2 is focused on AI and machine learning applications rather than raw power, which should hopefully mean a lot of smaller enhancements for Pixel users rather than a simple performance bump like Apple will offer. iPhone 14 Pro versus Google Pixel 7 Pro battery and charging. According to the leaked battery capacities for the iPhone 14 series, the iPhone 14 Pro will use a slightly larger battery than the iPhone 13 Pro, while the iPhone 14 Pro Max will use a slightly smaller one. We can say if this will have a big impact on either device's battery life, since that will depend on other components' power draw, but it could mean Apple's smaller Pro iPhone lasts a bit longer than the larger one. There are rumors of specific claims from Google about Pixel 7 Pro battery size or longevity, longevity in lieu of more specific claims. We would assume the Pixel 7 Pro will use a 5000 mAh battery like the Pixel 6 did, 6 Pro did. We just hope lasts a bit longer on a charge than the 6 Pro did. As disappointing, battery life is one of the worst parts of the Pixel 6 Pro experience. There are minimal rumors about changes to the charging for either the iPhone or the Pixel. If things stay they are as they are, the would mean 20-volt wired and 15-volt wireless like safe charging for the iPhone 14 Pro and 23-volt wired and wireless charging for the Pixel 7 Pro. None of these speeds are particularly impressive, but they should offer enough extra juice if they need to use them in an emergency during the day. Hope you guys like the video. Please like, subscribe, and share my YouTube channel.